Hey everybody, welcome back to World History. So, we're going to do our next lesson in our Holocaust unit. And today we're primarily going to be looking at the German invasion of Poland and life under the occupation, as well as the establishment of the Jewish ghettos in Poland. Our primary learning objectives today are to analyze the German invasion of Poland, examine firsthand accounts of the invasion, define key terms like ghetto and blitzkrieg, as well as explain what the ghettos were and how they were used in Poland, as well as being able to locate locations discussed in class on a map. Today's lesson will be broken into three separate videos. The opening activity, lecture number 1, and activity number 1 will be on this video. Lecture 2 and activity number 2 will be on the second video. Then lecture number 3 and the final assessment will be on the third video. So just pull up the playlist and follow along as we are going through. So without further ado, get out your scaffolded notes and Google Classroom, and let's get started. So your opening activity today is to respond to the following question. What three locations did we specifically discuss last time as the Nazis expanded into Europe? Respond to this question identifying the three locations and why Hitler wanted those three locations. Well, hopefully you've paused the video because I'm about to say the answer. If you remember last time, we talked about the remilitarization of the Rhineland, the Anschluss, or the unification with Austria, and Hitler taking the Sudetenland. Remember, he took the Rhineland to remilitarize it to combat the Treaty of Versailles. He unified with Austria because there was a lot of ethnic Germans that lived there. And with the Sudetenland, he was also looking to bring more ethnic Germans into the Reich. So, let's dig into that invasion of Poland a little bit. So, my video has not appeared right there. For those of you following along on the video from home, I will include the link to the video down below. Watch those time codes that are listed there. And while you're watching, consider the following. What do you see, and what tactics are the Germans using? We'll discuss this in class, and for those of you watching at home, feel free to jot down a few ideas to share next time you're in class. Oh, well, there's the video. So, Poland is Germany's gateway to the East. They see this as an opportunity to establish Lebensraum, and it's going to be a major site of innovation. It's going to be heavily used to expand and test German rule and Nazi innovation. Looking ahead, a lot of the major concentration camps that we talk about during World War II are in Poland. It also focuses on two key principles: encouraging experimentation and rivalry, and the idea of divide and conquer. Basically, with divide and conquer, this is meant to further isolate people and add to their wartime miseries, things that are going to, just in general, make life worse for the people that live there. So, in terms of the invasion, we have to identify some terms first. This is known as the Blitzkrieg, the lightning wars, because it's fast and it came on suddenly. On September 1st, 1939, they're going to claim that this was a defensive action, that Poland had attacked a German radio station. Now, the evidence that they had behind this was a dead man dressed up to be a Polish saboteur. That's not very convincing evidence. But it did justify military action in Poland. Some sources also claim that it was a Polish radio station that the Germans had captured and broadcasted a fake advance of the Polish army into Germany. So again, we have conflicting reports. Reactions overall to the invasion of Poland were cautious. Hitler had expected a large crowd to assemble for a massive assembly following the initiation of the invasion. Very few people actually showed up. He actually had to fill the stadium with Nazi officials to make it look like there was actually a large crowd there. I would point out, Poland is not surprised by this attack at all. What does surprise them is the speed, with the Germans primarily first attacking from the air. Poland did fight back. It's one of those misconceptions that Poland was just easily defeated, overran. No, they did fight back. Germany lost 80 planes in the first week and several hundred more in the weeks following, leading up to the Polish surrender. It's important to understand from a military standpoint, Poland is an excellent space and an ideal theater for air warfare. Flat terrain and large stretches of land that were too difficult to defend made it easier for the Germans to just simply fly in and bomb the area. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the invasion, but here are some consequences of this. As a result, France and Britain declare war. They're not going to be able to get to Europe for a little bit because mobilization. The Soviet Union will also invade Poland on September 17th, 1939, from the east and basically smash Poland like a bug. Poland will surrender in early October 1939. Casualties, it's pretty high up there for an invasion that lasted ostensibly a month. We have about 66,000 Poles, 17,000 Germans, 7,000 Soviets, and well over a million prisoners of war. This was a very deadly war. As a result of this, the Polish government, I'm going to see if I have another slide. I do. The Polish government is actually going to flee and originally go to Paris to be a government in exile. But once the Nazis start pushing towards France, they're actually going to run to London. Prior to the surrender, Polish army units that were still in Poland actually buried their weapons in caches across the countryside. Now, the big thing here is that this would provide materials to underground armies and resistance movements in the coming years. It is also important to note that the invasion of Poland is heavily overshadowed by the atrocities that will follow. So, while we talk about the Holocaust and heavily focus on Poland, we tend to overlook the invasion of Poland. It's also now going to be split into zones controlled by Germany and the Soviet Union. Some tried to get back from the Soviet zone, but would be trapped. Really, and we'll talk more about this when we do lecture two. A lot of times we'll see Polish Jews trying to go to the Soviet side, and non-Polish Jews, not excuse me, non-Polish people, not non-Polish Jews. That doesn't make sense. Non-Polish, just regular Polish people would run to the German zones. So, a quote from Adina Bladysławiec, a woman who lived during the invasion. She was a medical student at this time. She went on to write in her memoir, all this took place in December 1939. My journey back took 5 days. Apparently, they were shooting at fugitives on the River Bug, where the border ran between lands occupied by the Russians and those annexed by Germany. It was better to go through the fields by Malikinia station. So that's how I went, and was immediately caught by a Russian patrol. I explained that I was going to Warsaw to get my mother. Nobody cared, of course, and I was locked up in a pigsty. I can't remember how I escaped from that place stinking of dung, but I do know that the following day I was free again, wandering somewhere near the station in Szezmyka, still on the other side of the border. I was hungry, dirty, short of sleep, and frozen. Adina was a medical student at the time and had actually fled to the Soviet side when the Nazis had originally invaded. But after a few days there and hearing that people from Poland were being deported to Siberia, she made the long trek on foot from where she was on the Soviet side back to the city of Warsaw to her mother. So take a moment, consider Adina's experience, and discuss with your table partners about her experience. Be prepared to share what you're talking about with the class. So let's talk about activity number one. Just like last week's Dachau primary source activity, this one's going to be very similar in the sense that you're also going to be looking at things from the USC archive, so you should already have those accounts made from last time. Um, but there are a few more stories that we're going to highlight today. You're going to choose one of the following people, and assignment is also in Google Classroom. You're going to choose one of the following people and hear their story. You could choose Sally Recht, Abram Savicki, Sarah Kleinplatz, Estelle Laughlin, Nathan Lipschitz, and Eugene Elsner. All of them experienced the German invasion of Poland. Once you've watched the video from those time codes, answer the following questions on the worksheet. Which person did you choose and why? Describe their experience. Try and include at least 3 or 4 things. And then your wrap-up question is to create one of the following. A 3-pane comic strip of their experience. So if you want to draw this, you can. A word collage using words from their testimonies. A photo collage of the invasion of Poland. Or if you would prefer to answer a traditional reflection question, how would you have felt if you saw this firsthand? If you choose the reflection question, you need to write 3 to 5 sentences. Just like last time, you'll have about 15-20 minutes to do this activity. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.